Okay, we're on. So we're recording. I don't know what that's going to look like, but good morning, everybody. Gee, welcome. I hear background noise.
A lot of background from somebody.
Maybe it would be best to mute your mic. Mute your mic because you're hearing my voice. And then when you want to talk, just unmute it. Dave's got his muted. Vince has his muted. Totsy, Bill. Jack, do you know how to?
Am I muted, Mike?
No. Well, I've got next to your name, I've got a microphone with an X through it.
So can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you just fine, yeah.
Okay.
Am I live? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Dick. We don't see you.
Art, I'm not sure, but I think the background noise is coming from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I just muted Art, and that I could mute him from here.
Oh, you have the control.
I got the power. So it's Art, your background is feeding. Art, you're affecting the quality of our experience here. Now, why is John White on twice?
Good question.
Oh, because I got the phone on and I got the computer on.
I hear you.
Okay. So I hit a snag putting the computer up. So I got two going. I got the phone running.
Okay.
And the computer.
Well, it's just amazing what has happened in 1 week. I would never have thought a week ago we'd be doing this.
No.
Yeah.
Things move fast.
So, Mike Melander, you're muted, but do you not want to have the video, or actually all you guys?
I don't have a camera.
Oh, that's a
So
good.
Yeah.
That would be a good reason why.
Yeah, I think if you see my thing, you'll see there's just a mic and no camera muted symbol next to it. That means I don't have a camera.
Okay. All right. What about Dick? Dick, can you hear us?
Yeah, I've got your audio, but I can't put my picture on.
Okay. Well, we'll just assume that it's some sort of setting on your end.
Yeah.
Your meaning Dick, and Bob is trying to connect.
Hey, Mike, can I say something?
Of course.
When Mike Melander was telling me, if you start, I don't see those options until you start moving my mouse around. Then I move it around at the bottom. There's a whole bunch of options like stop video, stop mic, etc. So those of you who are trying to get the video, just move your mouse around a bit, and the bottom screen should pop up all sorts of stuff.
I'm on iPhone.
And that might not work for you. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Dick, there is an app that you can download on your iPhone called Zoom, and it's free.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. So, last Thursday, I went to Minneapolis, and boy, from Thursday to Friday, just everything it was amazing. Hey, there's John. Hey, John. Good morning. And Steve is joining us. Good. So, got to Minneapolis, or I drove up to where this conference was, and on Friday afternoon, all the governors nationwide were shutting down assemblies of 200 and more, and our conference got canceled. but we as a leadership, all of the speakers were in town. So we got together at the venue. The church was kind enough to let us use their place in the morning on Saturday when we would normally have had the conference. And they videotaped our presentations using this application, Zoom. So I first became familiar with it on Saturday. And then I've been talking to my daughter, who uses this same application in business. So yesterday, once we figured out the Moot House was canceled, and all the restaurants, I don't know, nationwide, I assume, are closing. It's just amazing. I kind of scrambled around. I downloaded this. I purchased a subscription, so we're not limited. And then I did a quick tutorial, and then my daughter and I met last night. So I've got about an hour of training into this whole thing. But I think we're doing pretty. I think we're doing pretty well so far. Steve and Bob. Steve Shinnick, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
And Bob Powell, are you there? So Bob may not. Can you guys give him on your end maybe where he's connecting to audio now? It says. This is amazing. Okay, he's connected. Bob, can you hear us?
I just now can.
Okay,
How
good.
do we know it's really you?
That's really me. I've been all over the place, 3,500 miles in a car.
Where are you this morning?
Welcome home.
I'm home.
Oh, yeah.
Feels good.
welcome home. So, Bob and Steve, do you guys want to connect to the video, or are you good just like that?
I see your face. Am I on video?
No, you're not on video.
Okay, so how do I do that?
I'm listening here.
What's your device?
I mean, audio only is fine, Steve and Bob. If you want to connect a video, we can help you do that. So
what do I do?
Move your mouse around.
to the
And that the bottom left-hand corner, I think, is
Oh,
where it
okay.
shows up.
Start video. Yep, there
Yep.
it is. Okay.
Hey, there you are.
Hey,
There you
are,
go.
Steve too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we just missed you, Mr. Schilling. And Arthur's not talking.
I'm trying to find the video.
well,
Yeah.
I think it's Alt button and the V key. Alt and V if you're on a keyboard.
Huh.
I'm on my cell phone. That's
Oh,
maybe the problem.
I'm not sure how to do it on a cell phone. There should
I'm
be,
looking.
there should be a menu.
Steve has his coffee and is in library. That looks very sophisticated.
Well, having some coffee helps me with the technology.
Steve. Hey, thanks for the reminder on the coffee. I forgot. Got to ask some up here.
Hey, we got 12 here today. Thank you.
What's that?
Right.
We have 12 on today.
So
Pretty-
Art, can you hear us, Art?
I can hear you. I don't know if, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, I can now. You must have shut down your background noise.
Well, I plugged in a headset, so,
Oh, okay.
and then I'm temporarily unmuting by using the space bar.
Okay. All
You're
right.
in the dark. You're in the dark room. Light up your face. There. Don't do it that way. Sorry, I asked.
Never mind, Art.
I remember
Hey,
this is amazing technology, and now common to all of us. I remember back in the 70s or maybe 80s when like places like Hewlett Packard and bigger organizations would set up video conference rooms, and they
yeah.
would invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in this big honking technology to be able to do what we're doing here for free. It's just unbelievable. Okay, well, let's go ahead and I don't know what do you guys have to say? I mean, look what's happened in a week. It's just amazing.
Well, there's sort of a sense it's like sitting before a hurricane coming. You can't see it, but everyone tells you it's there and it's coming and you're boarding up. But the weather looks fine right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, everything I read though says that we're doing the right thing to stay out of sight.
Yeah.
I was amazed that Council Tree Church texted me and asked me how I was doing, and I was wondering, why are they asking me how I'm doing? And I realized it's because I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's so
You beat me to it, Vince. I was getting ready to say the same thing.
yeah, it was not. It was very nice of him, but I just didn't. The gym called me the actively aging category. So
Yeah, I'm supposed to be frail, and I'm sitting there going, and I thought I had to have some sort of physical breakdown to be frail, but they tell me that's not so. I can be frail and not know it.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's good that our churches are staying in touch with you. I've gotten calls like that too, Vince. Do you
I
need
was very
anything?
blessed.
Yeah,
Hi, Dick.
it's amazing.
Hey, Dick's on.
There I
Dick's
am.
on.
Hey,
I
nice
finally
job,
figured
Dick.
this out.
That's cool. Nice.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you.
Dick.
Thank you for your patience.
One thing my daughter said is she's tried several of these companies and in their organization, and she likes this because it's most intuitive. For us to be able to just sit here and figure it out without any tutelage, that's really quite amazing. So, hey, good morning. You're still in your robe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there I suppose there's no possible way we can have a song, huh?
You might have thought I'd gone to heaven.
Yeah. Oh.
Bill,
Are you going to take all that artwork with you? I saw it in the background.
No, can't do it. Have to do all new.
All new.
So what's music look like on this system?
I don't know. We've never been there.
yeah. Maybe we'll try that. We don't want to have all the fun at one time. Maybe we should. We'll try that. I did find an option where we can, when we go to table time, we can actually split the group up.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite amazing. I don't know how to do that yet. Hey, that looks good, Dick. My goodness, you look relaxed. You got your coffee.
Oh yeah, my grapefruit. Well, next time I'll dress for the occasion.
Okay. From the waist down, we could dress or not dress however you wish, because no one's gonna know.
That's what they do on the news.
So Dick, I'm going back to the verse in verse 4 that I mentioned earlier, where Jesus says, "I have food to eat you don't know about."
Say that again. Say that.
I have food. I have food to eat you don't know about.
Oh.
Well, do you guys want to try to do the? Oh no! How did you do that?
Down the bottom of the screen is reactions, and so I could have done that, or give a little clap.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
neat. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a chat thing down here too. I think I could talk behind your back.
That's okay.
Well, there's
So
a
you
thing
can
called-
text everybody. You can do everybody or individuals.
Yeah.
So you don't disturb the meeting if you want to have a side chat.
That might be a good idea.
Well, Mike, you're probably most well versed on this whole thing. Is there anything you want to tell us here as we get in this kind of
I
thing?
don't have any training per se, but I use it for business.
Go ahead.
And it just, I don't know, maybe I'm part of the younger generation or something, but it just seems kind of intuitive. So, but if you just wiggle your mouse around and explore, the options come up. And I guess when you start using it, you start to think about, oh, that's why they did it that way. Like with the chat window, for sending a text message to anybody, you have the two, which can be everyone, or you can select a person to send it to or a group. You can actually send files and stuff back and forth to each other
Wow,
there.
no kidding.
Amazing.
Is that done through the chat feature?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have time here to, at least 8 weeks. We'll have time to kind of explore this. So.
Yeah. And
Michael,
then the other
you're
thing is
definitely part of the younger generation.
so one other thing that might be helpful for anybody is the record. So each individual viewer has the ability to record the video. So like Mike doesn't have to record it and email it to us. You can record it for yourself if you want it.
Watch it on Zoom.
So Mike, should we all be muting? On the lower left there, should we be muting once
Yeah.
Ador starts?
Yeah, once he starts, that's best to keep it clear.
It's sure clear right now.
Yeah, if you have a headset, I have a headset, so that's probably why I'm clear. But if you have a headset, usually the mute button on your headset is integrated with the mute button. So like for me, if I just push the mute button on my headset, it'll mute me inside of Zoom automatically. I mean, obviously my mic would be muted anyway, but it's all connected is the thing.
Well, should we, okay, what did you do from?
I'm sorry, I just experimented with chat and I went on Mike's thing, hit the corner, it says chat, and I just sent him the word test.
Yeah, I got that. It popped up on my screen.
So it's a way to interrupt you without letting everybody know I'm interrupting you.
Okay, all right.
As long as Mike doesn't tell us.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I clicked on that chat and it opened up a screen to the right that has, I would assume you could actually have conversations going over here to the right.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you guys, is your screen tiled? Are you seeing everybody's face?
Yeah, I have it set up.
I have mine set up to have the main person talking be the whole screen, and then on the side there's a bunch of little screens with people.
Yeah, that's the same way mine is. Yeah.
And that option you can choose in the upper right-hand corner.
Setting it up. And Harrison.
Like I've got.
Yeah, there's an exit.
There's speaker view and gallery view.
Yeah.
Whatever
little checkerboard, yeah, and you do that. And now it looks like the Brady Bunch now.
Well, would you guys like to try to do the portion of the Bible study just to see?
Yes.
This is
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For it.
Okay.
Working out kinks this morning.
All right. So what time is it? It's 7:20. We'll go to. Let's go to 7:45 this morning, and because let's just try it here. So I learned how to share a screen, and I'm going to do that now. When I click the button, I'm not real sure what's going to happen. So I'm not sure exactly what it's all going to be like. So I'm going to give it a try here.
This is really good, really smart.
Oh, there we go.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's small. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, on my setup here, I was in tile view, So when I shared the screen, now it dominates the screen, and then all of you guys, well, you're not all there. Oh, there's a, yeah, I have to scroll down to see everybody on the right. So, okay, so we're this far. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
At least one of us is not all here. That's a given.
Well, there's a little
Thank you.
arrow on the bottom or top that will actually expand the view of the people. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it starts to cut you off when you do that.
Well, do you want Mike? Do you want our mics off or on so we can keep commenting as we go along?
Well, I think my feeling is it's working right now. The only snafu we had with that earlier with Art had that background, whatever he was listening to, the Beatles in the background. So this seems to be working. If we run into problems, if you start to hear background, just mute. Just mute. So, okay, well, now I'm going to switch to presentation mode. And unfortunately, it's going to take over my whole screen, and I actually lose ability to use the mouse. I'm going to use my keyboard commands, and that's something I'd like to work on technologically, is to figure out how to do this as play this as a window within on the screen, so it doesn't take over my whole computer. So I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm going to hit play. Now, do you guys, does it fill your screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but all of the folks' faces are still on the screen in a window in a little subset. So
On the side, yeah.
My screen, yeah.
But you can go up there and there's some options. There's a little flat bar you can touch and it puts you to the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it works out. This is working fine.
Okay.
The other thing is over to the right on there, there's a swap share screen with video. So you can go from slides, having the slide in the middle, to having video in the middle and back and forth by clicking that little button.
Yep, we got it. There you go.
Okay, Mike, that was really important. Was that addressed to including me, or is that
Yeah, well, it's everybody. So the thing is, for you, Mike, is what you're sharing and what you're seeing are not necessarily the same thing. Does that make sense? So we have, maybe a different way to say it is, we have some control over what we see.
Okay.
And so you don't have to worry about it too much. You can configure yours the way you like it, basically.
Okay. The thing that, see, right now in this presentation mode, I have no control. I have no mouse control, so I can't use that, which is which is kind of a problem. I'd like to figure out how I can play Keynote, this application, within a window, so I can still use my mouse. But that's a bigger question that I'll have to address at another time. So why don't we
usually if you're just sharing your screen, it should let you have control within your screen however you normally do.
Well, for some reason I'm not able. I'm moving my mouse and I don't. I can't. If I hit the right spot, the cursor is not showing, Mike.
So how did you share? Did you just go to the bottom and say share screen?
Yeah, there's a command that says share screen.
Okay.
And my mouse is active when I move. I can't see my cursor, so I don't know where I am. But if I get to the top, I can find that menu, and that menu comes up. But my cursor, I have to guess where it is. If I could play it within a window, then I could see my mouse move around and I could do something. But that's neither here nor there right now. Let's give this a try. Would somebody read the text here, John 4:25 through 30?
The woman said to him, I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When that one comes, he will declare all things to us. And Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. At this point, his disciples came, and they were amazed that he'd been speaking with a woman. Yet no one said, who do you seek? Or why do you speak with her? So the woman left her water pot and went into the city and said to the men, come, see a man who told me all the things that I have done. This is not the Christ, is it? They went out of the city and were coming to him.
Okay, all right. That's where we actually read that last week. And I want to review the story as a whole. And I am amazed on how in 1 week, this is so applicable to where we are in the world situation right now. Last week, I proposed the idea that we all, because we're made in the image of God, we long for the happily ever after. It's innate within every human being. We're hoping for something better to occur. And of course, that takes a lot of different shapes and sizes, but it's kind of my baseline of where I'm starting this application or this view of the story as a whole, Woman at the Well. And within that continuum, or on that continuum, you and I establish what we call normality. And this I get from the first 8 verses, where the woman day after day, year after year, would come to the well to get water. It was her normal. And of course, Jesus is going to dramatically disrupt that normal. And what establishes normality is what I think are self-imposed constructs. You know, there's this reality happening all around us, and you and I vote, either consciously or subconsciously, and we establish our normality to be at a certain state on this continuum. Now, think about what is occurring right now. A week ago, we were meeting at the Moot House. We were all aware that this world outbreak of a virus was coming our way. But by Thursday and Friday, we had major universities across the U.S. starting to close, schools, and now a week later, the very place that we're meeting is now closed. That is a phenomenal amount of change that has occurred, and our normality is being disrupted to major degrees. You know, we are now in a state of flux, and to think that we would be meeting remotely within our homes, using the modern technology to have this discussion a week ago it was so far off all of our grids. But yet this is all occurred. This is all where we are. Well, so Jesus meets this woman and says, give me a drink. And at this point, she is awakened, just like you and I have been awakened. We've been reading about what to do and what not to do. Bob Powell already commented this morning about we're doing the right thing of, you know, hunkering down, and that is happening nationwide. I'm not really versed with what's going on worldwide, but nationwide, this hunkering down is happening. We are being awakened to a bigger reality that is being occurred, and it's right out of our story that we're reading. Then Jesus draws the woman in, and there is intrigue. There's physical water, there's the well, there's the normality of drawing water from the well, and Jesus is immediately taking this story, this interchange, to a whole new level here. Nick, I'm really being entertained by your screen there. That's really something. So this intrigue of living water, and to drink of the water that he offers will bring complete satisfaction, in contrast to drinking physical water, which always never fully, it satisfies at the moment, but there's always need for more. So the point here is, after this intrigue, she says, give me the water, verses 10 through 14. This is the threshold for deconstruction. And I purposely put deconstruction on its head, upside down, because that's exactly how deconstruction, when we're going through deconstruction, that's what it feels like. And we are going, in a sense, through deconstruction right now. Our whole methodologies of normality are being challenged. And what is this, we have yet to know what is, going to be the outcome of all this. Then at that point is correlation. 4 verse 25. I can't remember that verse. 4 verse 25. The woman said to him, I know that Messiah is coming. Oh, she's correlating her hope for the happily ever after. Right now I'm pointing to the screen and you don't see it, but the correlation here, correlation is now looking back to the happily ever after. She, along with most of society at that time, were looking for a Messiah, a deliverer. And so she correlates what's happening in this conversation to this Messiah figure that is to come. And then finally, there is in this story illumination that occurs where she goes back, and we read that this morning. She goes back and says, is this not the Messiah? This man who told me everything about my past, is this not the Messiah? So much so that the people dropped what they were doing and they came out to see him. So this is really a great picture of what happened then. And it just so happens, interestingly enough, to be exactly where we are right now. The story within the story. Last week, I ended our teaching time with the idea that this very well could be in John's intent to give us at least one picture of what born again looks like, where business as usual to the left, normality, and through this process of awakening, intrigue, deconstruction, correlation, and illumination. Last week I drew a line across here, and could this represent, in some degree, what being born again looks like? So what I'd like us to do now, we're not going to go to tables because I haven't figured out how to do that in the app, but let's talk about, we would like to get your input on where you are, where you are, and correlating this story to what you're feeling at this stage in your life. So let's just open up the mic and let's talk about it here.
Mike and I took a class at church called an Enneagram, and it was a system where you can identify your personality type, and my personality type seeks certainty and comfort and sameness. And I get a lot of comfort out of that. And the class was saying that it's unlikely that you're going to get any of that because the world changes too much. And rather than seeking what your personality desires, the solution, because you'll never get it, as we saw today, the last couple of days, whatever today is, Thursday, it's or Wednesday. Sunday was like a different world.
Yeah.
And so she taught that the solution to that is faith. And I'm impressed with myself, I guess, is what I'm thinking, is how I'm not going crazy right now. Is that I've got a firm foundation that my my faith is nothing less than Jesus and his righteousness kind of thing. And I'm blessed that, guys like you, we meet together, we have a Bible, we've got churches, we've got a family, we've got an underlying consciousness that the world does not provide. And I'm glad, I feel like I'm growing even at this age.
That's
We have a young woman in our fellowship who had to undergo mandatory testing because she was exposed. And a day later, this has been kind of a heads up to me, an excellent perspective, because she needs to work. She's a single lady, all those kinds of things. The pressure could be tremendous. She finally wrote and said, "You mean I got to take 10 days off and I have nothing more to do than spend it with Jesus? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
That's a pretty valuable perspective.
Yeah, that is.
I actually, can you hear me?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We can see you too.
I had a really self-centered, selfish actually reaction when they closed down the ski slopes because I was scheduled to go skiing, right?
I hear you.
And then we had an online sermon from Rob Coles, at Genesis Project. And the gist of his whole sermon was, as Christians, we should actually be looking at serving others through this type of other situation that we're going to, and not be self-centered or whatever. He didn't say that I shouldn't be self-centered, but he was saying that that's what people tend to do, okay, in these types of situations. They go and they buy all the toilet paper and they do all this stuff and hoard things, okay, and they're not thinking of the good of others. So they actually set up 2 programs in terms of how you can actually help others that are in need, people that are losing their jobs or parents that have to stay home and they don't have any income and they got to feed their kids. The kids in the school program, I thought was a good example where they've closed down the schools and a lot of those kids actually get free lunches. So, he suggested that we need to set up situations so we can get those kids fed. And that's, so anyway, I just thought I'd share that to where, and this is kind of a struggle that I've been going on with my faith and my walk now, okay, is that I tend to be self-centered and focusing on myself rather than on the needs of others.
Maybe something to think about along those lines is that there's only so much that each person can do as an individual. When the real power comes in, really what we do depends upon what we believe. And so, like, for instance, in a situation like this, as Vince was saying, if we have faith that God will provide and that sort of thing, we don't panic. So we don't make bad decisions. And the decisions you were talking about, those decisions are not necessarily just bad for everyone else. They're also bad for the people that are doing it. Somebody's going to go get a basement full of toilet paper, and in a few months, this illness will pass, as all illnesses do, and now they've got a basement full of toilet paper,
Well,
how are they gonna, and so these kind of things, and I mean, it's kind of a funny thing, but it's,
Let the good times
if we can
roll.
help people, one of the big helps is to get people to see the real big picture. And for instance, God's existence, his way for man's life, all of these things are tremendously important in how we function as individuals. And the more that we can get people to see that, the helping power of it is amplified, because now you don't need to help that person. You know what I mean? Like if I give somebody food, yeah, it'll feed them today, but they're going to be hungry tomorrow. And I can spend the rest of my life feeding that one person. Or I can help them understand, you guys have probably heard the cliche, but I can teach them how to farm, like Tatsi says. Now they can feed themselves. Now they don't need me, so I can go do something else. Right. Anyway, that's just my thought on the matter. Hey, Mike, did you have any luck with that?
With what?
I sent you a text thing.
Oh,
I
well,
thought this might be a good time. I don't mean to disrupt the conversation, but
let me see here.
there's supposed to be a follow presenter's pointer. So I'm guessing there's a share pointer option up in the view.
Yeah, I saw in the demo yesterday, I saw the woman do that, use that pointer. But again, during when I'm sharing screen, I lose all control over my screen. So I'm looking for the, I'm going to stop share. Do you guys want that slide on there?
Well, we can, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can see your pointer now.
Yeah.
We can see your pointer.
Yeah, but that's just it. I'm in,
Okay.
that's just the application on my desk.
I don't think we need the table up there anymore.
Maybe
Well,
maybe go to the drop down menu on media and see if there's a share pointer. Drop down.
Yeah, initially you actually had this. Initially, you actually had the screen on there, and your picture of yourself was to the side. Now all I've been getting is you on the full screen and no materials that are being displayed. I don't know what everybody else is seeing.
Yeah, I lost the material too. Just now, whatever happened, I lost the slide.
Yeah, I stopped sharing my screen. So
That's
now
a good share. You know, okay, I looked at it, and in that whole conversation, I'm sensing that this is and even in stepping into the world here, it's prophetic. I mean, Jesus is having this conversation. People are coming out to meet him, but regardless, it's prophetic because Jesus is going to leave the area, and there's a happily ever after coming combined with a storm, and everybody here now is informed about it, and they're going to know what's happening when it comes. Because when it comes, Jesus will be resurrected, the church will be coming, but so will be the Roman armies and all sorts of stuff's going on. So Jesus was planting seeds here. So this is sort of a prophetic slide. And it kind of is for me right now because there's still a storm coming. I don't want to be scared of it, but I also don't want to be oblivious to it. And as it comes through, these earlier passages and things like this are the things that are going to be coming back in my memory to anchor me. Because otherwise you can forget what you got taught this morning when you're right in the middle of the storm. But if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, Tatsi, the idea, this idea of being selfish, it seems like we can only think about one thing at a time. It's a little like being on an airplane and we've had a big disruption. A storm has come and the oxygen mask dropped down. And so they tell us before we try to help somebody for us to put the oxygen mask on. So that's selfish, but it
smart selfishness.
Yeah, it gives me life, so I now can help who would be sitting next to you or whatever. This journey of ours, we are living in very, very interesting times. Who would have thought that we in our 50, 60, 70 years 80 years would have experienced something like this, right? And we very well could be in the end of the end times. We've been in the end times since Jesus left, but very, very interesting times that we can actually witness this. So that longing for the happily ever after that was on the left, in our journey as we go through. Um, like Bill was saying, you know, we're in the middle of this experientially, which what an appropriate time to be talking about this kind of stuff, and how do we deal with it, right? So you can tell I'm a little ADD. I got to get up, walk around. This idea of staying in the house is like, oh my.
Yeah.
It's been a whole day. Oh my goodness.
Hello.
I spoke with Jen yesterday at the Moot House, both Bill and I did. And I said, wow, this has dramatically affected your whole organization. You know, and of course, all restaurants. The number of people now are without jobs, the wait staff. And wow, their world has been dramatically affected. And just as a word to us all is, you know, if you get a hankering for Moot House food, we can always patronize by ordering their
takeout.
For takeout. Yeah. They're going to be open for takeout. So I think it's DoorDash or I'm not sure, but I know that Sandra and I will, you know, it's something small, but at least support them. That's something.
There's so many strange accommodations going on. I stopped in, excuse me, Mike, I stopped in a motor vehicle on Oak Street where I worked for 15 years just to see the folks, how they're doing. And they have accommodated by having every other desk occupied by a staffer rather than every desk. That just forces the 6-foot rule. And then they've put card tables, like folding tables in front of the desks so that people will be forced to be away from the staff person. And I don't know, must throw paper at each other. I don't know how they actually functionally do it. And then, and all of this stuff is necessary, but it's adding to when you're seeing all of this stuff, it makes it feel worse. And the public is getting even more and more stressed because they can't walk in the motor vehicle like they used to. It appears to be half the staff, even though, you know, it's necessary to accommodate the 6-foot rule. And then the restaurants are closed and school is closed and all of these crazy things going on. What Tatsi said, you know, you have an opportunity to help people, if nothing else, to calm down, just to be some sort of a center for calmness.
Well, you know, in the context of what I was saying, though, a lot of that was generated because I myself and my stepson, who is a PA in emergency rooms, have felt that this is really just a media-driven worldwide panic. Okay,
a lot of it.
And his viewpoint from a medical standpoint is the consequences of the current flu, which we're not even talking about, is a lot more impactful on the health and on older people than the coronavirus, because he spends 8 hours a day in an emergency room seeing people that think they have the coronavirus, but they end up coming in and they have the flu or something else. He hasn't seen any coronavirus cases. And so the thing that that really hit me is John's comment on end times. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is not anywhere close to being an end times, and I hadn't even thought about that, John, about that, the fact that this could be an indication of the end times. But just think what's going to happen when the end times really come. You know that we panic at something that may be just a straw horse, and it's plainly just a panic that, and it's sending our whole financial, and it's the impact on it is just unbelievable, and the impact of the virus may not even really realistically be that much.
Kind of
So,
reminds me of
and
something
all
you,
this thing that people are losing jobs, and we can't feed our kids and all this other stuff. It's being generated maybe by something that's not even that impactful, although there are people dying in Italy. Okay.
kind of
I
reminds
agree
me of
with
something you often teach, Mike. It says something like, "You're not in control."
Yeah.
Well, I agree with Totsi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
16,000 people have died in the U.S. since January 1st of the seasonal flu. What are we doing to help prevent those deaths? We're all worried because there's 2 deaths in Colorado, but 16,000 people have already died this year from seasonal flu. This is what concerns me.
But actually, though, all of this is a culmination of the fact that people are buying into the "I'm not in control," which you're not in control of everything, but you are in control of yourself. And so what happens is when people say, I don't have any control, that's when they tend to panic. When you can show somebody and say, hey, here's the real world, here's your choices, these choices have natural consequences, you can know what the consequence of the choice is going to be, that sort of thing. People don't panic. They think about it and they say, okay, like for instance with the sickness, the flu's bad, it could kill me, yeah, but am I going to stop functioning because of it? No, because I know how to deal with it. I know if I get the flu, I can stay home, sleep, drink some tea, whatever, get through it and keep going. But once you start to think, well, I'm not in control, then that's when people panic. They say, oh, I don't know, if I get this coronavirus or something, then what's going to happen? And I can't take care of it, so I need somebody else to take care of it. And then once you get that, then you have, like, for instance, we're a group of people. None of us that I know of, if anybody's panicked, let me know. Maybe I can help you. But none of us are panicked over this whole thing. And so, it's like, if you know these things, if you understand the real truth of what's going on, then you don't panic, because you can think, well, here's what I can do here, whatever, how I can deal with it. And it's just, I think maybe there's, to what Totsi was saying, some of that a media-driven panic, but it all stems from, and its ability to affect us comes from, I think, that misunderstanding of what we do and don't have control of. Does that make sense? Where people basically say, like with the sickness, there's, it could kill me and that's unacceptable or something. So you start making irrational decisions.
Yeah.
Well, one of the examples I thought was, okay, when they were interviewing, when Trump gave his presentation, and then Trump was saying that, he had been exposed. They were saying he had been exposed, but so how come you couldn't be tested? Well, you're actually wasting the test. So that was an opportunity Trump and the media and everybody had, that was, just don't go run to the hospital and get tested for coronavirus if you have no symptoms, because it's, it's not going to help. Okay. You may not even be able, you may not even test positive. So the test could be useless on you, and you're just wasting resources and taking away from people who really need to be tested. So the big thing is that, uh, yes, the positive that may come out of this is that the people that are really vulnerable, like people whose immune systems are compromised or are not that well, like our group, are older. We're more vulnerable. Our group should be more afraid than anybody else, because we're mostly older people. But we realistically know that it's like, Mike was saying, that with flu, we know how to cope with that. If we get the flu, we know that it's very serious for us as older people, so we know how to cope with that. The same with coronavirus, okay? We just don't expose ourselves to those situations to where we're going to do that. So I kind of got around the kind of the resentment I felt about them closing down the ski slopes, because I'm saying, I'm out in the open. I can go up and I can ski single on the chair, instead of going and putting my eating my lunch in the lunchroom, I'll just eat in my car, So I thought of all the things. I wasn't afraid of going up skiing. In fact, I was supposed to go on Friday, and my wife kind of talked me out of it, say, well, I don't feel comfortable with you. So I did that. And then we were supposed to go down to have sushi, but then my brother-in-law calls and said, oh, you could get it and expose, your mother, who's 98 years old, who lives with us. So they talked us out of going out there and having sushi to celebrate my stepson's, birthday. So, it's kind of what Mike was saying. I think really is true. People don't really understand what they're going into. So it's what they're dealing with here. She actually runs more risk of getting exposed to flu and dying from flu than the coronavirus, and that's just the plain fact. So anyway.
I did something on Mike's example. I asked him in the past what he does, for people as far as giving, because for whatever reason, I'm embarrassed to even say, but for whatever reason, I'm not naturally a generous person. I don't know why, but I just don't. But and he says, well, he gives out energy bars to folks when they're asking for money, and they, Luna bar or something like that. So I put a bunch of rolls of toilet paper in my trunk. And I figured as I go around and I see folks and we chat and they go, oh, I tried to get toilet paper the other day and it was all out. I could hand them toilet paper.
Good for you.
It becomes a currency.
Good for you. Good job, Vince.
You can monetize that stuff.
Yeah, I gotta. Hey, where's that reaction there? I gotta do this. Whoop. Good job.
By the way, I think we lost Mr. Powell here somewhere.
Yeah, he left. Well, we're way over time, guys, and I think we're going to shut it off for today. And boy, I just can't thank you enough for all participating. We had 12 guys this morning.
This was outstanding.
Really a full house.
Well done, Mike. This is a great tool.
It's a great tool, and I'm motivated to learn more about how we could use more of the features. And thanks to you all, I think we'll all get used to more this type of format. Our normality is being changed here. But I thought it went extremely well this morning. So it's nice seeing your all faces, and we'll shut off now. I will post this.
Before you go, a quick question. My screen shows we're recording. If that's the case, how do we get the recording?
Well, I'm going to attempt to load this to YouTube like I do every week, and have a link on the Christ in the Rockies website. Now, having not worked with this format before, I don't know what that will mean, but I will attempt this morning to actually blog and post this like I do every other week. It's just going to look different. So
okay,
there'll be a video, and then every week I post the video and the slides.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Mike.
Take care, guys, literally. And we'll see you next week, if not before.
Mike Melander, you're probably too young, but some of us remember a character by the name of Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah.
I'm too young.
And his words were,
What?
Me worry.
Me worry.
With that, we'll end. Have a good rest of your week, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Blessing.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.